Hello, hello. Welcome to Top Shelf Backpacking. Today we're going over what I took for my solo overnight snowshoeing on Mount Hood in Oregon. Before we get into it, if you're into backpacking, hiking, and all things outdoors, please consider subscribing. And for more detailed information, keep an eye open for upcoming shorts. Starting with the backpack, this is the 65-liter Bridger from Mystery Ranch. Picked this guy up specifically for this trip on the recommendation of Eric Hansen, formerly of Backpacker TV, mainly because it has a running style vest. I always keep my water bottles, my camera and stuff up front, and I thought this would be a more comfortable replacement for my Osprey that was stolen. I just don't think it is. These shoulder straps dig in quite a bit on me. Maybe it's just how I'm shaped. It did carry the load comfortably, had about 32 pounds in this, guys, when I had things strapped to the outside. And it wasn't necessarily uncomfortable. I just feel like a water bottle sleeve strapped to the Osprey would be the more comfortable option. Next, let's look at what I had attached to the bag. Starting with my Thermarest Z seat. I never actually unattached that. It wasn't cold enough that I felt I needed a little insulation, and I didn't have quite enough sunlight to need to dig a spot to sit, so brought it, didn't end up using it. On the front pocket I had a water bottle, and on the other pocket I kept my Joby Gorilla Pod with the GoPro attached to it for easy access for shooting videos. On the side pocket I had an Amazon Basics tripod, currently holding up this camera here so you can't see it. And on the other side from that, I had this Amazon aluminum snow shovel. Came in very handy for leveling out camp. Came in the dark, so didn't have the best campsite selection, but this definitely helped make it level enough to get a good night's sleep. Strapped to the front for the hike in, warm half of the way on the way out, was my MSR Revo Trail snowshoes with flotation tails. I was over 250 pounds with the bag, and these did a really good job. First time I've ever used them, not the first time I've carried them, but fairly comfortable, easy to maneuver in. I did kind of step on the tails occasionally, so I had to be really careful when I was turning. Once the trail was kind of firm enough, I took these off and went to my micro spikes. Next up was what was in the brain of the pack. I had my Under Armour liner gloves. I had an Outdoor Vitals mini buff. Wasn't expecting any precipitation or anything, but just in case I needed extra warmth, had my Frog Togs rain jacket and my Enlightened Equipment wind pants. For the ice protection, I had my micro spikes. Use these for the hike out. Super glad I had them. It didn't get below 35 degrees, but it still seemed very icy and compacted, especially on the switchbacks. I brought these, should have used them, but didn't. These are snow gaiters. I wore tights and shorts, and to get a little wet, there was a lot more post-holing at camp than I was expecting, so these would have been helpful, but didn't end up using them. Finally, some safety items, set of hand warmers, emergency blanket just in case I needed extra insulation under me, and a fire starter. Inside the front pocket, had my illuminated lantern. You use this quite a bit. Did not get to camp till after 8 o'clock. It was very dark, so headlamps and lanterns were definitely helpful. As I was hiking on St. Patrick's Day, gotta have your Irish whiskey. This is a Tullamore Dew cask. Caribbean cask. Another set of hand warmers just in case. My water kit. This was a Canuck Vecto bag and my Sawyer squeeze. Didn't end up using this. I ended up melting snow just because I was so far from the lake and a lot of it was frozen. So I just made sure once it melted it boiled for over a minute to make sure it was safe to drink. Next up, had my poop kit in there, and didn't end up using it, but always safe to have. Nice little cigar tubo. In the main body of the pack, had my electronic stuff, so everything I wanted to try and keep warm. This went into my sleeping bag at night to help keep things from draining. My MSR backpacker mug that was filled with coffee till I got fully loaded, so it's set up here on its own. I had my clothing bag with all my insulating layers, everything I needed to stay warm at night and in the morning. Have my Z-Packs tarp. Really didn't need to pitch this. We weren't expecting any precipitation and didn't get any, but nice to practice in the dark and in the snow on how to pitch this between two trees. Along with that, I had my REI snow stakes. Super glad I had these. I don't think the groundhog styles would have worked in the snow I was in. And then some extra line just in case, all in the tarp stuff sack. Next up is my food bag. This has my cook kit in it. Cook kit as well as 3 meals and a snack in there, as well as some warm drinks. I only ended up drinking the coffee just because due to time and how dark it was, went to bed fairly soon after eating dinner. Next we have my Tyvek ground sheet. This went down directly onto the snow. Did a good job of making sure none of the moisture came through and got me wet. Also gave a nice dry spot to put all of my things like my bag and my little gear bags. Final thing is my sleep system bag. This has my pillow, my sleep quilt. Actually, it was more of a sleeping bag. And then my Thermarest Neo Air X-Therm. Kept me plenty warm in the 30s. So those were all of the items I took with me on my solo snowshoe overnight up at Mirror Lake on Mount Hood. Keep an eye open for those shorts detailing more as to what was specifically in those bags. And until I see you again, cheers.